What you are experiencing now is not the fault of your receiver or the internet. For another edition of Night Owls. So turn your red light on. We're fixing to get down.
The oldest lunar calendars. The oldest lunar calendars and earliest constellations have been identified in cave art found in the astronomer priests of these late Upper Paleolithic cultures understood mathematical sets. An interplay between the moon annual cycle, ecliptic, solstice, and seasonal changes on Earth. The first lunar calendar, the archaeological record's earliest data that speaks to human awareness of the stars and heavens, dates to the Aurignacian culture of Europe, circa 32,000 BC. Between 1964 and the early 1990s, Alexander Marshak published breakthrough research that documented the mathematical and astronomical knowledge in the late Upper Paleolithic cultures of Europe. Marshak deciphered sets of marks carved into animal bone and thickens and occasionally on the walls of caves as records of the lunar cycle. These marks are sets of crescents or lines, artesians, carefully controlled line thickness that suggest a snake deity or streams and rivers. Aurignacian lunar calendar diagram drawing after Marshak A. 1970. Notation:
Dans les gravures du Paléolithique supérieur, Bordeaux, Delmas/Dans maps.
Many of these lunar calendars were made on small pieces of stone, bone, and antler, so that they could be easily carried. The small, portable, lightweight lunar calendars were easily carried on extended journeys, such as long hunting trips and seasonal migrations. Hunting the largest animals was arduous and might require hunters to follow herds of horses, bison, mammoth, or ibex for many weeks. Other big animals, such as the auroch, that was like a cow, cave bear, and cave lion, were well known, but rarely hunted for food because they had special status in the mythical realm. The auroch is very important to the search for earliest constellations. The phases of the moon depicted in these sets of marks are inexact. Precision was impossible unless all nights were perfectly clear, which is an unrealistic expectation. The arithmetic counting skill implied by these small lunar calendars is obvious. The recognition that there are phases of the moon and seasons of the year that can be counted, that should be counted because they are important, is profound. Everything in life is in phases, whether it's the moon or life. Even Saturn theory came in phases. All animal activities are time factored, simply because time passes. The future is forever arriving. The reality of time factoring is objective physics, and does not depend upon human awareness or consciousness. Until Marshak's work, many archaeologists believed that sets of marks he chose to study were nothing but the aimless doodles of bored toolmakers. What Marshak uncovered is the intuitive discovery of mathematical sets and the application of those sets to the construction of a calendar. Bone is the preferred medium because it allows for easy transport and a long calendar lifetime. Mankind's earliest astronomy brought the clan into the multi-dimensional universe of the gods. Objects used in most potent rituals had the highest contextual cultural value and were treated with great reverence.
Before the mythical paradise of Saturn's golden age, it is said there was a darkness upon the face of the earth. This was the purple dawn of creation. You are about to undergo a speculative journey into a time before the coming of the Saturn God. An exploration into how Earth might have looked to a race of desperate alien space travelers looking for a new home 40,000 years ago. A time when Earth was still a planetary satellite of the brown dwarf star Saturn, before its catastrophic capture by the Sun.
Earth during its purple dawn of creation epoch also included our speculative images of life on an ancient Jovian moon, Ganymede, a hypothetical spacefaring people looking to escape their doomed planet, then in orbit around the dying brown dwarf star Jupiter. For the Ganymedians, the discovery of Earth was both a curse and a blessing. It offered them refuge and hope for a new home. But Earth's arrival, along with its giant host star Saturn, beckoned the coming destruction of their own fragile home world. And why do we think that there had to be a different body in the solar system that housed humanity? Well, there are several things that give us that idea. First of all, we know, without a doubt, that the Earth housed nocturnal, carnivorous beasts, high and low, wet or dry. The seas, as well as land, were up to its eyeballs. Planet Earth was more like planet carnivore. If we know one thing, we can put two things together. First, all of the old world creatures were nocturnal. They lived in a purple dawn world. They were carnivorous. The Earth was a very dangerous place. Planet carnivore. So, for us small-eyed, made-to-see-underwater humans, we had to come from a brighter place with a stronger magnetosphere. That is the reason why Ganymede was brought up as that other alternative. There is no doubt that Mars was also harboring life. But all of the skulls that are found on Mars resemble beasts, big-eyed, purple dawn creatures, just like on the Earth, as they were lit by the red light of a brown dwarf star that come crashing into the Jupiter system, which the antique solar system. Jupiter and the Sun share a common barycenter with each other. That much is known. We must have came from a light place that was pretty safe, seeing that humans are very vulnerable at young ages. There could never have been an egg without a chicken. But there couldn't have been a chicken without an egg. So that riddle pretty much says that man was probably created by other physical beings. Now, human beings are spiritual creatures, and if you really think about it, one time, the human race was ethereal. And if that's the case, if human beings started out being ethereal and one sex, like the myths say, then he had to find himself, in order to experience the physical life, he had to find himself a vehicle. And people thinking does not necessarily come from inside the brain. There has to be an ethereal side to the universe, which means the astral plane. Now, these are just my lamentings. Back to the story. But what the Ganymedians found on Earth was nothing like the once warm and safe oceans of ancient Ganymede. On Earth, they found a new and dangerously wild world, fraught with beasts and monsters. A planet cloaked in a sinister and permanent purple twilight shed by primordial reddish-blue glow of Saturn. Here, the Ganymedians discovered a world where time did not exist, a world whose host star was on a destructive collision course with the Sun, and would eventually destroy their own ill-fated world, Ganymede. Based on the radical cosmological theories and ideas expressed in the books The Saturn Death Cult and Cosmos and Collision, the Purple Dawn creation explores and introduces the reader to the fascinating semi-nocturnal world of life on Earth 40,000 years ago. Remember I told you about them moon cycles? It could be more like 32,000 years ago. According to the witness of ancient world mythology, life at this time was primitive, dark, and dangerous. A world incubating in a purple cocoon of Saturn's primordial radiance, Earth's original host star. On this world, humankind struggled for survival and faced their greatest challenge, the apex predator today called Neanderthals. Due to its extensive use of coloring. What is this? I don't know what this is. Or our solar system's original first sun. The golden age of mortal men who lived in a time of Kronos, when he was reigning in heaven, and they lived like gods, without sorrow of heart, remote and free from toil. Miserable age rested not on them. The fruitful earth unforced bare them fruit abundantly, and without stint. They dwelt in ease and peace upon their lands with many good things. Works and Days, Hesiod, from the Velikovsky Archive. Golden Age was when Earth was thought to be closer to Saturn, or Saturn's plasmasphere was large and encompassed the Earth. Saturn, known since the most ancient times as Saturnus Mons, and was seen as a god of generation, dissolution, plenty, wealth, agriculture, periodic renewal, and liberation. In later developments, he came to also be a god of treasury, a god of time. His reign was depicted as a golden age of plenty and peace. The temple of Saturn in the Roman Forum housed the state treasury. In December, he was celebrated at what is perhaps the most famous of the Roman festivals, the Saturnalia, a time of feasting, role reversals, free speech, gift-giving, and revelry. Saturn, the planet, and Saturday are both named after the god. This meant that our planet had a very steady environment, one that was healthy and beneficial to all forms of life, hence the Golden Age. Then something happened, and we were expelled from Saturn's influence, expelled from the Garden of Eden. Jupiter's ghost may show something like our planet living in the Saturn environment. Why are the planets still hot? If the planets and moons were formed billions of years ago, how and why are they still warm? How could the proposed theoretical temperature of the core of planet Earth, 7,000 to 12,000 Berkeley lab said in a statement, whether the rest is primordial heat or comes from some other source, it is an unanswered question. That is what's called an inverse problem, where you have a lot of information, but also a lot of complicated inputs and variables. The Earth continuously generates about 44 terawatts of heat, according to measurements from approximately 20,000 boreholes all over the world. It's this heat and how it affects substances in the core and mantle that leads to the gradual motion of continents and the creation of the Earth's magnetic field. Exactly how this heat is generated has been difficult to measure, since the inner layers of the planet can't be probed directly. Why is Earth so hot? Radioactivity is half the answer. Another thing is, I believe that all of the cores of all of the planets and the sun in the solar system are connected in some way. That's what keeps them hot. That's just my guess. One thing we can say, I think all the cores and the surface of the sun, I should say. A possible mechanism for the live warming of planets, space bodies, was suggested by Monty Childs in his presentation at 2016 Electric Universe Conference. Using observed data from the physical experiments conducted using Sapphire, Montgomery mentioned in Electromagnetic Mechanics might explain why planets' cores and surfaces are still hot. The video below points where he views the temperature of the sapphire chamber and the anode, etc. For example, the center of the anode may be 2500 Celsius, but the surface of the anode was of the order of 1 magnitude cooler. The radiation leaving the surface of the anode does so at the speed of light. The temperature takes a lot longer to migrate, conduct through the dense core material. Could this be a heating mechanism for planets that should be frozen cold by now, if they are as old as they say they are? Mars and Mercury were known as the dynamic duo. Newfound orbital ellipses of Mercury and Mars, circa 3067 to 3050, as calculated by Cook. By circa 3050, the pair were beginning a cycle of near-Earth circlings that would last some 300 years, while the slowly equilibrating orbital ellipses of both Mars and Mercury overlap the Earth's newfound orbit. At punctual intervals, the dynamic duo were seen contesting in the night skies with the great pomp and fanfare. But these were not the only two gods. On nightly display, the splendorous sight of Venus was well recalled by cultures the world over, and until approximately 2860, coinciding with the close of the first Egyptian dynasty, Jupiter himself was a numinous spectacle to behold. Several surviving cultures preserve narratives of these heavenly activities as ostentatious displays of familial rivalry, such as the Hindu epic Mahabharata. Chester Beatty Papyrus 1 preserves what seems to be later, circa 1500 to negative 700, negative 1500 to negative 700, Egyptian recension of these sightings as the contendings of Horus and Set.
And the force between filaments is linear, so the electromagnetic fields created by them are the most powerful long-range attractors in the universe, as well as short-range repulsors. Those magnetic fields are what trace out the spiral arms in galaxies because electric current flows through them, both from the intergalactic circuit feeding the galaxy and from the homopolar motor action of the galaxy itself.
Well, I think that's about it as far as talking goes. I threw that together like in 30 minutes as just coming attractions because I that third story, I guess I didn't put it in the greatest place with a bunch of other good Purple Dawn stuff, but I just wanted to get it out there and, be done with it. And it was fun. It was kind of fun. Taking a walk on the wild side, I guess. But I don't know how much I believe all of it. Maybe, still that splice that Lloyd Pye pointed out, and that's pretty hard to reckon with as something natural for me. I don't know. Anyways, so that was some of the coming stuff. I'm working on a new Purple Dawn video. It's going to be a good one. It's going to be my best. And I'm really putting a lot into it, and it really just got started. So it's going to be a little bit on that one. More Velikovsky, of course. And, every once in a while I'll find something that intrigues me and putting it out there. I'm going to come out there and say hello to everybody. This is cooked. See, I didn't even process the video. I just slapped it together just to try to give you guys an idea of what's coming. It's just some of it. So here we are. Let me get you on TV here. Let me get you on TV. Right here, yeah, there you are. See all your pretty smiling faces. All right, I'm sick tonight. Valerie, are you sick, really? I hope you're all right. I don't like to have anyone sick. Barb, hello, Barb. Yeah, I love flowers of love. Got this cute little turtle backpack. Looks like an elongated skull person. You reading live, Greg? Well, no, I was, since I was really laid back, it was really late when I did that. It was a couple nights ago. I was half awake, half tired, and just decided to start reading and recording, so that's what I did, and I just played it for you. Yeah, I was pretty laid back, wasn't I? But that's just the way it is, late at night, because, in the daytime, sometimes maybe I can get away with it, but at primetime hours, the house is noisy, so it's hard for me to, I don't want to make everybody shut up while I do this, I just try to do it when the house is quiet. Well, thank you. Al Batwitch. Kronos! Oh! Kronos is in the house! Hey, Kronos, it's good to see you, man. I haven't seen you in a while. We got to talk sometime, son. I hear you're doing real good. That's good. I'm glad, I hope you kick ass and take names. Angela. Hello, Angela. It's good to see you. Yeah, I love all you guys. I really do, man. I just want to do my best for you. I know I kind of get out in left field a little bit, but sometimes maybe people like that. I don't know. I do. Hitting those high... Yeah. Woo! Yeah. All right. Well, I got to play something for you, don't I? Yeah, boy. I do. I have a nice Wall Thornhill Saturn video I'm going to get together, but I'm just going to take me a minute. So I'll be back. I'll put on a quick song, and you might not even get through it by the time I find it. So hang loose. Be right back. I have to end this session and restart and be back with